so for us, we believe Disney is the better animation company over Laika, because who's really heard of it. And Disney has been around since 1923 and is very well known worldwide.
Disney is something most people hold near and dear to their hearts and have been since they were kids.
Great. To the other side now.
That was short, jeez.
Kind of like Disney.
All right, are we ready?
Yeah, we're going.
Well, here we go. Laika is the stop-motion movie production company responsible for Kubo and the Two Strings, Coraline, Box Trolls, The Corpse Bride, and Paranorman. We believe they produce better quality films since every asset of the movie is handcrafted with love. Probably not with love, though. We believe more effort goes into them for the production times and the quality of their work. Everything is painstakingly animated frame by frame by an animator physically. And their movies have a much more appeal because every movie looks different and is very diverse from one another. And it's time to remove the nostalgia goggles and admit Disney is not that great.
Okay, back to you guys for your 4 points.
Alright, so for our first point, all the Disney movies are easier to create animations and also easier to pay animators for computer animation rather than stop motion. And then especially since Disney makes such a big profit with all its big movies. And so a particular example, the movie Finding Dory, it started with a $200 million budget and then ended up making over $1 billion in the box office, which is almost 3 times as much as all of your movies combined.
So Disney's way more popular and more well known. I mean, how many people actually know that Coraline was made by Laika? I didn't know that until we were researching it. And they also were successful with all their different movies, their shows, like they had the Disney Channel. There were a lot of popular shows like Hannah Montana, That's So Raven, and so on. They also had like movies like Lady and the Tramp and Cinderella and Snow White. And they also own major companies such as Marvel and Pixar and Touchstone, Maker Studios, and Club Penguin.
Those are your 4 points?
Yeah.
Thank you. Back to you guys for
I'm just
yours.
running Club Penguin, hold on. I think we might have lost that one. It's not like it's shutting down or anything. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll try our best. Our first point is that their movies are a lot more diverse. Their stories are different. Every movie has a different aesthetic appeal. So if you look at Kubo and the Two Strings, everything made in that movie was supposed to have an origami feel. So the props were made to look like they were made with the paper folded, even though they were not. This makes the movies a lot more appealing than each one. Like, how many times can you watch a Disney princess fall in love or have the same face as a Disney princess from 2 years ago? Thanks, Bryce. All right, our other point is that they're way more, back to the appeal, I guess. Oh, I read the wrong point. No, I didn't. Each film was very unique. Like, if you look at it like a movie, there's many scenes where you think, wow, that looks really cool. And you'll be surprised how much of that movie was not CGI. Even in Kubo, the water, that was stop motion animated to make sure it had the same feel as the movie with the aesthetic of origami.
Third point would be they put more effort into their films. So like everything you see on screen, like the set, the characters, the props, was all handmade. So with that, it does take like a longer time, like for production. So it takes about a year for Laika to plan one of their movies and construct everything, and then it takes nearly like 2 years to animate the whole thing. They've also pushed the 3D printing industry with rapid prototyping, which is what they do to print their faces. So Kubo's 48 million expressions is an obvious increase from Coraline's 27,000. So they've done better, I guess. Fourth argument is they have a broader audience. Their films are more diverse. So like with the characters, the story, and then the design in general. They're not directed at like towards like a target audience, like a younger audience. Like even the humor it's still kid friendly, but it's not like cheesy humor. So like no matter what your age is, you can still like find enjoyment in it.
All right, 1 minute for the break before we get into the open debate.
Hold on. Whoa.
All right, open debate starts when your hand goes up.
Alright, so you said that Kubo was your latest work and then it was really appealing to everyone. But if it was so appealing and it put so much time into it, why didn't it make that much in the box office? It barely made its budget. It barely made back its budget.
Well, let's take a look at that. You're saying you're comparing a movie that was released like 4 months ago, and it's made by pretty much an indie company, is what most of their movies come out like when they produce it. A huge part of why Disney makes so much money off their movies is because of their brand names that they have, like Marvel and Disney. By putting those onto a product, it's immediately going to sell to people.
Okay, well, you also talked about how they don't really use CGI, but you say that like it's a bad thing to use CGI. It's just another way to make animations, and it's really popular, so I don't think it's really anything to rag on.
Laika does use some CGI, like in Box Trolls, the one scene where they're all like in a ballroom. Most of the people in there aren't stop motion, like just like the main characters are. So they do use some, but like majority of it is stop motion.
Except that they have to use some CGI, like it's kind of helping our
We're not
side.
saying CGI is bad. We're saying that.
But you're on the side for stop motion, though.
No, we're on the side of Laika. What are you? Can you read?
With this like stop motion company, specifically because you said that they laid off a lot of workers when one of the movies animated movies canceled, and then they laid off even more workers to focus solely on stop motion. So it's
So
specifically.
a lot of people lost their jobs, just that they could focus on something that's not even as popular and not going to make as much money.
All right, well, you got us there. Funny, right? Well, you mentioned Club Penguin, and that's so Raven, and you're trying to compare the brand of Disney to an animation company that has no name. It's not. It's its own like establishment. And you talked a lot about the different content that Disney had, but saying how much of that content is actually better than what Laika has produced? Like, how many of you thought Dog with a Blog was a good idea?
I thought that was pretty good.
Oh yeah.
But like I said, like it has a lot of different branches like Marvel and Touchstone and Pixar, and seeing how much those have made, like Marvel is like really popular, Pixar is really popular with like Monsters Inc.
Oh yeah, but those are companies that have been around for however long. Laika's first film came out in 2005.
Yeah, but between 2005 and now, Disney has still made a lot more than Laika has since it got started.
Because their name is a lot bigger. Just like it's still growing, I guess.
But do you
Yeah.
think it's going to get as big as Disney, though?
Well, no, clearly it's not, because there's all the little teenagers who are like, I gotta get that Frozen doll for I just love Elsa so much, I can't let it go. No. I mean, that's the biggest thing is like Disney it appeals to a much younger audience in a lot of ways. There are older people who obviously enjoy it, but where Laika doesn't have a distinguished audience yet because it hasn't had time to establish it really.
But some of the new Disney films are being a lot more mature to kind of appeal to the older audience as well. Like they're remaking some of the movies to be a little more mature.
Give me an example.
Beauty and the Beast in 2016, they're releasing.
Well, yeah, they're remaking it live action. They're not remaking it as an animation to make it more. They're remaking it as live action because they're completely redoing their projects as live action.
So it's more realistic.
More realistic. Well, no animation's realistic besides CGI, really.
To look at your budget though, you only made 4 feature films, and you've only made $400 million to there.
I think I count 6 actually.
I only saw 4. Is that
I
including
might
the
have
TV?
just counted.
Is that including your TV series or?
What TV series?
You don't know about your TV series?
Are you
You
drunk?
don't even know about like TV series?
Name it.
Oh! You don't know your TV series?
Name it.
I don't care. I don't care for it.
I don't care
It's
for
so
Disney.
insignificant, you just need some time to remember it.
Well, sorry, the Dog the Blog was insignificant. You brought up Club Penguin. It's closing down.
You're
There-
telling me
people
you
are
have
losing
no-
jobs over Club Penguin. You haven't played
Look
Club
at
Penguin.
mobile, they're innovating.
No.
Yeah, they
That's
Have
wrong.
you ever had Club Penguin account?
Yeah, I did. And I closed it down. Do you want to know why? I got banned. I said Laika's better than Disney. They banned me
It
right
didn't
there.
even exist.
Yes, it did.
When did you find out about Laika?
Long time ago.
Corpse Bride. 2002.
My dad owns Laika, alright?
That must be nice.
Corpse Bride was not made in 2002 because Laika didn't start until 2005.
Maybe it was
2002.
Prices.
Bryce, this isn't your
Okay, open debate is closed. 1 minute break before closing statements. Well done, you guys.
wrong on this. That's a big point.
How many debates do we have left? 2? Hands up. You guys? 3 debates left? Okay.
We're going next.
They're rounding up about 10 minutes. They're rounding up about 10, 15 minutes each.
Yeah. We'll have one time for one more. We'll do 2 more tomorrow.
It only been on for like 2 years.
I didn't know it was a TV series. I thought it
And
was
probably need very long minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just got the order figured out.
You know who's going first for closing?
They're going first.
Thank you. Okay, when you're ready, closing statements. Thank you.
So in conclusion, Laika's films are better than Disney's. Their characters and stories are more diverse compared to Disney's repetitive storyline. You'll leave each Laika film with a different experience, where Disney's you can kind of like predict what's going to happen like once the movie starts. Laika puts an incredible amount of effort into each film. Each frame was physically manipulated by an animator, not using curves and tweens like a computer does. And then finally, Laika appeals to a broader audience because they don't directly target a younger audience. Laika is a small company that's underrated, but they're producing amazing films.
Well, stop motion is cool and has my respect for the amount of effort they put into it. Realistically, I'm still in favor of computer animations because they're more time efficient and less costly to produce while still maintaining its value.
And also, Disney has proved that they can adapt to how animation is evolving. Back in the World War, most of their workers were drafted over to the army to make army videos and everything. But Disney still survived after that. And stop motion is slowly being forgotten and likely will never be as successful as computer animation. And also, no matter what you do with your company, it's always going to be an underdog compared to us. So.
It's pretty rude to say that.
Is that a personal attack?
Great,
I think
great
you just
debate,
attacked
guys.
me.